Well, Ben, we're back for the 2001 Pepperfest Parade.
Yes, we are, and we certainly have a large crowd lining the street all the way to the north and to the south on both sides.
This is perhaps as many as we've had in the best of weather, even though it's threatening a little rain. Hopefully we're going to avoid that.
The good thing is that no one has to jockey to find the seat where they're not looking into the sun. As long as the clouds remain, and they certainly look like they're going to be with us for a while, we're not going to have to be peering into the sun.
This is the 26th consecutive parade since the Pepper Festival was revived back in 75 and 76. 76 was the first revived three-day festival, so we passed the milestone.
I believe you were involved back at that time?
I had the privilege of chairing it for a couple of years. Well, it's been nice just attending more than helping out here and there, but...
Well, I also had that honor, I think it's 6 years as the general chairman, so it was a good way to really get a good feel for the festival and all the time and effort that goes on by the volunteers and really putting together a quality festival for the entire community.
If we colored our hair, they'd probably still have us working. Good thing that we show our age.
Well, I'm always amazed at how much Wally Gregerson still does, and Wally's 70 years old, I believe, or a little over. And
got to be pushing that anyway.
He is here every day, a week before and probably a week after, getting set up, taking care of things. No job's too small for him.
Well, we've got 132 units this year, give or take. Always depends who shows up and who doesn't, and who comes that we didn't know about.
Absolutely true. That makes kind of a juggling act here. And keep an eye out and see who's in and who's out.
We're going to be graced with a lot of pretty ladies and some good-looking guys too, I suppose. Besides the 3 units of North Hudson royalty, this year's, last year's, and the alumni, we've got 45 other towns at least sending royalty to this.
And I see we have a couple of bands, including one from New Richmond, and some mechanical musical units.
Yes. Well, here's the North Hudson police car with Chief Brian Eichel leading the whole parade as appropriate.
Brian has a big smile on this morning. And we now have the VFW 115 post carrying the colors.
Followed by the Company B, 6th Wisconsin Volunteer Infantry, a unit reenacting the Civil War.
Very authentic looking uniforms also. Looks like we have a couple of ladies found this unit that also are in early period costumes.
Only in costume though, right?
Yes.
Certainly not old enough to. Hoop skirts and all.
And the one lady is certainly prepared for the sun. She has an umbrella, so that'll work for the rain also. It's a little tiny umbrella though.
Here's the Hudson post of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Otis H. King post, number 50.
I believe we have the national anthem, Bill.
Well, nice rendition of the national anthem. I'm not sure that it picked up on the tape. Hope it did, so that people at home can enjoy it as well.
Yes, and we should note for the audience that if we are suddenly gone, we've been advised that if the rain does come, we will be terminating parade coverage since there's a lot of pricey video and sound paraphernalia out here.
Hope that doesn't happen, but they are warned. In the background, it was a staccato burst of the VFW Honor Guard firing their salute, 21-gun salute. And now comes the St. Croix County 40-8. They always have fun with this. I remember from my youth in Green Bay. It comes from World War I when they transported a lot of the troops by train, and the boxcars were big enough to carry 40 men and 8 horses together. I suspect they were more than happy to get off and get to battle.
Yes, I'm sure they were, until they got to battle.
Yes.
Next we have approaching a number of the As you clearly heard, that was the emergency medical services from St. Croix. They're followed by the Hudson Fire Department, the St. Joseph's Fire Department, and the St. Croix County Sheriff's Water Patrol. So you're going to see a lot of flashing lights and hear a lot of sirens for the next few minutes. And I think that will keep us quiet.
We aren't going to achieve much over that, but in between, maybe.
Time to have a drink of water, I think.
Well, they have. All 3 of the ambulances from the Hudson Emergency Medical Services.
I don't know, Bill, if I've seen this particular unit before. It's a very large one. Looks like a brand new.
I think it replaces the old ambulance that had been converted to a rescue unit with the jaws of life and so on.
Yes.
I think it probably does double duty. We're probably after going to chip in from the village and city and town treasury to buy new sirens for the vehicles now. There's the volunteer firemen.
Here's Hudson with a pumper truck followed by a tanker.
They've got 5 units in the parade.
These small pickups are the ones they use for the brush fires. Allows them to get to places that are a little tight for a big truck. Get there quickly.
Particularly along the railroad line. Particularly fitting that you would note that, given all the wildfires out west this year.
It has been a wonderful year for fires. We have the St. Joseph Fire and Rescue Vehicle. It's passing before us right now. St. Joseph's has a very admirable fire equipment.
Looks like we're missing the water patrol, but here comes the 2001 Grand Marshal, Sam Ritchie. Sam was involved in reorganizing and restarting the pepper festivals back in 1976.
And he is followed by John Shulo, who is the good neighbor from North Hudson, a long-time North Hudson native, and involved in Pepperfest for quite a number of years. And he's wearing the Pepperfest shirt and the neck scarf that has the hot pepper emblem on it. Sam, of course, owned the establishment directly behind us at one time, and when it was a bowling alley.
Had been his dad's, Sam's place. Yes, and put a lot of effort. The very first parade of the restarted Pepper Festival in '76, he had 106 units. His goal was to outdo the Hudson Boosters. We can admit that now. And he did. And it's now grown to 130 some units.
lot of animation on this unit.
We have the North Hudson Pepperfest royalty for the current year, the 2000-2001 year.
Caitlin Walbron is the first princess. Sherry Martin, Heidi Jones, Queen Jenna Evenson, and King Stan Dom.
And following them are the preceding 2000, the 1999-2000 Pepperfest royalty. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the royal family.
This is the royal family, yes, sir.
For the current royalty.
And a hard-working group. They've been to a lot of parades.
Here's the prior royalty.
Yes, here is the 1999-2000 royalty. Queen Jamie Gifford, Princess Haley, and King Scott.
I guess the year that is assigned isn't so much when they win their royalty spot, but the summer that they're going to spend the following summer touring so many parades and having a lot of fun.
Yes. And certainly this group appreciates the float ahead of them, because their parents also had that same task last year, getting prepared for probably 25 to 30 parades, I would think, on the average.
Very, very true.
The 2001 Royal Family. Without these people, the float would not happen. The 2001 Pepperfest Royal Family
Now coming is the float from the Hudson Chamber of Commerce and Booster Days with the Hudson royalty. The first of 45 out-of-town units. Well, not really out of town, but
A couple blocks away, as a matter of fact.
and in fact, often the girls from North Hudson are in the Hudson royalty and vice versa. The 2001 Miss Hudson, Stephanie Copeland, princesses Wendy O'Connell, Kristen Ridley, and Carolyn Marlowe.
That is an animated float with some paddle wheel turning and smoke coming from the smokestack. The unit coming before us now and dispersing some candy, always a favorite of the children, is Blue Skies Pool and Spa from Hudson, Wisconsin.
Well, we won some candy there.
Yes, you did. Nice grab. Nice grab.
Yeah. Now, truly from out of town, arch rivals in sports, the city of New Richmond has sent its royalty and float to visit us. Miss New Richmond is Danielle Ailts, and the princesses are Imine Jameson, Amanda Kruger, Lindsay Virgin is Miss Congeniality and Princess. The last one is Kaylin Currens. Lindsay's going to get a lot of static. I probably will too.
We had a little sprinkle there, but it seems to be letting up, and we now have our first marching band. Appropriately following the New Richmond float is the Marching Tiger Band. The New Richmond Middle School, and I believe the high school may be behind them. We'll see. I thought I saw at least one bus and a truck
From New Richmond?
from New Richmond, and they were loading in different places, but it may be only one band.
I think while they come later in the program that was published, I suspect that they're all going up to another parade, probably at Star Prairie Oxcart Days.
Could be. This is certainly a period of time when there are many festivals in the surrounding communities, and bands are always at a premium. High-stepping unit with flags and the rifle drill team. I'm sure the crowd really appreciates the band.
Well, let's enjoy their music. And I suspect we're soon going to face a pause and some more music as they perform for the judges.
Imagine they may appreciate not having sunny hot weather.
Yes.
like the New Richmond band's going to have a good feeder system for a while. They're a pretty large group.
Yes. Well, the flags now reverse and come back through. Flags and rifle unit. Doing a little drill here in front of the camera.
Strutting their stuff for the judges.
Yes. And now coming is the royalty from Turtle Lake, Wisconsin.
I think we're going to have another pause here while the band performs immediately in front of the judges' stand.
Just up the road from us.
Ooh, they're releasing some smoke and balloons down there.
I'm not sure if the folks at home can hear the performance since it's directed away from our table, directed up the street. But of course, they have every right to perform for the judges, and it does stop the parade momentarily. And here is the Turtle Lake royalty. The second princess is Amy Desjardins, and I don't know who the other lady is, Ben.
And I don't know either. We don't have any information on that.
Must have a name on the other side of the truck.
I suspect that's true. We're mic'd to here. We can't run right around there and take a look.
We're wired down.
We need informants on the other side.
Well, the little shower that we had a few moments ago seems to have passed. I was afraid your forecast was about to come true, but
Well, it dissipated pretty quickly.
did help anchor the pages down for us.
Our next float is the Pepperfest Queen candidate, the first one of several, Nicole Davison, who is sponsored by Jim Henry Associates, which is Remax Team One Realty, Royalty going with Realty.
The Queen candidates are coming in 4 groups of 5 this year. So you have a good chance to compare. See who will do well representing the Pepperfest. Having said that from the program that we have,
Deviated a bit from the program, haven't we?
we now have a unit from the Hudson Flower Shop.
And they are handing out, it looks like, long-stemmed red roses to people on the parade route. There'll be some happy recipients there, I'm sure.
Appropriate message, stop and smell the flowers.
Yes, and people are going to get an opportunity to do that firsthand. Looks like they have a lot of bouquets on there, and we have at least 6 people that are handing out flowers on both sides of the parade route.
You certainly need one to put behind your ear, Ben.
That would look good on me, wouldn't it? The red would go well with my gray hair, and yours also, by the way.
Yes. Oh. Cameras are picking up
How beautiful.
the crowd as they receive flowers and how pleased they are. Here is the second Queen candidate, Shannon O'Brien, sponsored by Hudson Flower Shop. Now we understand.
Yes, nice job of setting up the crowd for their candidate.
And driving a GTO, a classic convertible, 442.
You can hear by the throbbing engine that there's a lot of power in that vehicle. Approaching the next convertible, the white convertible, is Pepperfest Queen candidate Liz Rood, or Elizabeth Rood, and she's sponsored by Andar Engineering.
And that's Eric Anderson, long-time North Hudson resident and Pepperfest worker and village board member at one time.
And I see she is always carrying those red roses. It looks like all the Queen candidates have the long-stemmed red roses.
Next we have Queen candidate Katie Zappa, sponsored by Copycat Digital. Copycat Center for printing, copying, and whatever else you might need.
Interesting, we have a cheering section behind us of young ladies, and they're cheering all of the candidates. And our next candidate is sponsored by County Market, and is Anna Breedle. She's in a beautiful red Mustang, which the Red County market white goes well with.
You know, Dave Holt Ford puts a lot of vehicles into the parade, and of course, based in Hudson, but Dave and Barb
Always a challenge to
live in
find
North
enough
Hudson.
convertibles.
Yes.
There were 20 candidates this year and 20 convertibles.
Here's the Hopkins Raspberry Festival royalty. We're not going to get them all named, but the junior royalty up front, junior queen, is Waverly Johnston. Senior king, John Hamer. The princesses, Natalie Feening and Brittany Balter. And the queen, Selena Derringer. Hopkins Raspberry Festival, July 11th.
It's always a very active float and always has a lot of people on it. It's a real challenge trying to announce everyone on that parade. We now have the 4-H unit, St. Croix County, the St. Croix County Ambassadors. And riding on this float we have Maureen Casey, Nadine Georges, Holly Stevens, and Jeff Crows.
And I don't know if we missed the fairest of the fair from the St. Croix County Fair, or if she's on there with them. We'll just have to see. Have you been to the St. Croix County Fair in Glenwood City, Ben?
I have not, although I do go to Glenwood City to play golf occasionally. There's a nice little 9-hole course in there.
Here's the Clear Lake Community Royalty. Clear Lake, northeast of New Richmond. And the beautiful float and the royalty, Miss Congeniality, Christy Setter. Princesses, Lisa Stratton, Rachel Weiss, and Myra Henson. And the queen, Tiffany Jacques, or Jacques. Heritage Days in Clear Lake are June 21 to 24.
The next unit that is approaching us is the First National Bank, pulled by the Internet Bug, the Volkswagen Bug. It has a huge inflated tiger on the float and is followed by a number of participants who are passing out candy. And we also have the American Eagle, who may be selling savings bonds, I don't know, and the tiger on the other side. The First National Bank, incorporated in 1863, has 8 locations. 2 of them are right here in Hudson. And they have been participating actively in America's Promise program, which is geared towards improving the life of youth.
Comprehensive Communications, Inc. is the Valley's premier provider of wireless phones and services. It is an authorized dealer of Verizon Wireless, VoiceStream Wireless, Nextel, and Cellular One. CCI also retails pagers, two-way radios, and digital phone systems.
I believe, Bill, that we probably missed about 20 units there during that brief downpour.
Well, but we're back in business, and
A little
on our sheet at
water speckled here,
unit
I
number
see.
46, the Baldwin Royalty coming up. People are following at home on the published list of units.
I did note that one of the floats there had some of the old North Hudson Royalty, and Mr. Zappa, Tony Zappa, had a nice wide black fedora that sort of served as an umbrella. Didn't seem to dampen his skirts a bit.
The Baldwin Windmill Days occur in mid-June. The royalty is Ms. Baldwin, Kristen Rasmussen. And the princesses are Tiffany Bauer, Tara Monican, and Jennifer LaFaver. And they're all here.
Our next unit approaching is from St. Croix Falls, billing themselves as a gateway to the Wild River. That, of course, would be the St. Croix River, which was one of the first of the rivers to be named to the National Wild and Scenic River System. We have 5 royalty on this float. On the front we have Hansy Swanson, Miss Congeniality, and Sarah Rausch, the 3rd princess. We also also have Anita Flom as the second princess, and Abigail Richter is first princess. The queen is Erin Benoit, Miss St. Croix Falls.
And now for the those who are our age and older, Tom's Mechanical Music with a old-fashioned calliope. Brings back memories of the circus coming to
It
town.
looks like one of the old circus wagons you see in the Milwaukee Parade.
Did the circus come to your town when you were growing up?
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure. I remember going to circuses, but I'm too young to know if it was in my hometown.
We lived right across from the railroad yards, and I can remember the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus pulling in and unloading right there. All the flat cars and all the animals, and then they did a parade through town out to where the circus grounds were going to be.
Next we have the Riverbank, and they are also distributing some candy and it looks like Frisbees. They, of course, are a full-service bank, provide checking, IRA, CDs, insurance, online banking, that, of course, being very popular with the internet banking, savings and home loans, and they have a little mock-up of a frame of a home under construction.
Well built.
Looks that way. Needs a roof on it though with the rain, so they could have gone inside.
Could use that.
I'll have to mention that for next year, plan ahead, put a roof on.
And now the float and royalty from Prescott, Wisconsin. On the front is Miss Congeniality, Melissa Reinhardt. Behind her on each side are the first and second princesses, Sarah Harold and Crystal Nelson. And in the back, position of honor, the Queen, Miss Prescott, Casey Tim. Prescott, Wisconsin, gateway to the Great River Road.
And you notice that the Queen here has a canopy that goes right over her head. She was very well protected during the rain.
Well, and Prescott Days are coming up the weekend after Labor Day. It'll be the weekend of September 8th.
Looks like we have another deviation in our parade route here. We were scheduled to have the Chetek Royalty, but I do not see them. Instead, we have a float from the Freedom Stations and Value Centers, located here in Hudson, Wisconsin.
It might be the Hudson Physicians Clinic was scheduled to be in this spot, so maybe they're helping out the local doctors and certainly helping out the dentists handing out all that candy.
I'm sure the children never think of that at this time. And their parents probably don't either. They have to celebrate sometimes.
And now, again, we have 5 candidates for Miss Hudson coming up. In the first car, Heather Bogenhagen, I should say. Heather is sponsored by Mama Maria's Ristorante in North Hudson.
Interesting, this vehicle is also being advertised as being for sale. Little opportunity to get some free advertising here as part of the parade.
I suppose nothing wrong with taking advantage of the opportunity. Nice looking convertible. Chrysler LeBaron, is it? Yes.
And here's a very unique looking unit, custom unit. It is carrying the next festival candidate, Ricky Keller. And Ricky Keller is being sponsored by Barker's Bar and Grill. And I recognize the gentleman there. Old hockey player.
Next, Queen candidate, Terry K. Trost. Terry is sponsored by San Pedro Cafe, which is actually interowned with Barker's.
Yes, so we have a couple of competing candidates there sponsored by essentially the same corporation.
Rob Knefelkamp, who was in the first car, I think,
Yes, it
kind
was.
of co-manages both of the...
And we have our next candidate, April Alexander. April is sponsored by J. Allen Kinney Homes. riding a beautiful Impala, about a 1967 or 69, I would guess. They're followed by another unit, a pickup also from J. Allen Kinney Homes.
Must be members of the Kinney family handing out goodies to the kids. And finally, not least, but last in this group of 5, Queen candidate Jackie Gregerson, sponsored by her grandfather, Friendly Valley Appliance, Wally Gregerson, Wally and Bernie's granddaughter.
Well, you can hear approaching another musical unit, very small but very colorful looking. This would be the Cracker or Kramer Cracker Jack drum line. They are from Cold Spring, Minnesota. They've been entertaining since 1983. Good round of applause from the crowd.
Four young guys having a lot of fun with their musical ability. We'll look for them on Letterman or Leno's Tonight Show. Probably not going to be as big as the Beatles.
Probably having as much fun as the Beatles, certainly more than the Beatles are right now.
And here comes the float from the Hudson Lions Club. Hudson Lions Club is part of the Lions Club International, the world's largest service organization, whose primary emphasis is on sight and related problems. The Hudson Lions have been serving this community since 1987. The Lions thank you for your past support and hope it continues in the future.
Hey guys.
Thank you, Becky.
And that is being followed by a float from the Ellsworth Lions Club. And the truck here is a 1957 SDW, which I have no idea what SDW stands for.
We'll have to find out.
They have been involved in the Habitat for Humanity project in Prescott. And they invite everyone to join their festival, the Appleton Festival, which will be held at the Circle K Orchard in Beldenville on September 22nd and 23rd.
And I think the SDW is a misprint. I think it's the FWD, which stands for the four-wheel drive in Clintonville, Wisconsin.
All right, a little local history there.
Maker of, still making fire engines. They were been in fire engines for decades and did a lot of trucks back in the World War II and the Korean War. Next we have, I think, well, we thought we were having the Red Wing royalty, but they're apparently not here. We have Senator, or at least a car, on behalf of Senator Sheila Harsdorf.
Like a 1964 Chevrolet Impala Super Sport, which is exactly the sort of vehicle I had at one time in black and wish I still had.
I had a 57 Bel Air that was really my mom's, but I too wish.
We knew I have a unit that I haven't seen before. It's sponsored by the Arkansas Fur, Fish, and Game Club. And the vehicle is from Bauer Brothers Motors in Durand, Wisconsin.
And now we have the Knights of Columbus coming. The Knights of Columbus St. Croix Council number 1762 is an international Catholic men's charitable organization for the benefit of their church, the community, families, and youth. They are well known for their annual Tootsie Roll fundraiser for the mentally handicapped, and they're handing out Tootsie Rolls now.
And that explains the float.
Yes.
A giant Tootsie Roll.
This council is based at St. Patrick's in Hudson. The funds raised from their Tootsie Roll weekend are donated to the Hudson Public Schools and Camp Avanti here in Hudson. They also sponsor several other things, including the free throw and punt, I'm going to say that right, the free throw competition and the punt, pass, and kick competition, as well as Boy Scout Troop 148 and the local venture crew.
The unit we have approaching now is from the Hudson Hospital, and they are throwing out pink frisbees. And their specialty, or their advertising on the side, is the emergency care specialist from Hudson Hospital. Wonderful service for the community to have. We have a ton of
That
people
just started.
throwing these
That's,
babies out.
Specially trained emergency physicians from Regions Hospital, who are through health partners now related to the Hudson Medical Center.
Yes, and emergency services have become a specialty, and the affiliation with Regions Hospital certainly brought a level of expertise to the community that the community can have a lot of comfort
And
in
I
having
tell you,
available.
in the latter part of July, I had to take Carolyn having some heart problems, and it was great having a well-trained physician right at the door. We didn't have to wait for somebody on call to come in. Hudson's physicians are very capable, but it's nice knowing that there's somebody right there on the spot.
Here we have the Big Lake Spudfest royalty float. You see the giant spud that forms the float. And we have Miss Congeniality, Sheila Urzar, second Princess Nikki Sims, first Princess Shannon Helps, and Miss Big Lake, Laura Brandt.
You can see she's sitting on a big pat of butter on top of that baked potato.
Looks like a soft pat of butter.
Here's the Cumberland royalty from the 69th annual Rutabaga Fest in Cumberland, which is coming up August 22 to 26. Miss Cumberland Brooke Johnson. The princesses are Jennifer Fritz, Brianna Bridger, and Cassie Pearson.
And see, Miss Cumberland is also doing double duty as Miss Congeniality.
The junior royalty on the front end are Zoe Hopkins Hiley and Austin Avery.
Next we have the hot air affair, and you'll hear the blast occasionally here of the gasoline being fired, propane. You can feel the heat. And the Hudson Hot Air Affair, of course, will be February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in 2002. It's one of the premier hot air festivals in the nation. They have over 50 special shapes of balloons. They have a spectacular moon glow. They have races. They have mass ascensions. It's really a wonderful activity in the summertime, or excuse me, in the wintertime. They also have special activities such as a torchlight parade, turkey bowling, chili kickoff, volleyball in the snow, and a craft fair.
Here in a antique Somerset Fire Department truck are a number of princesses and princesses, Maple Grove, Cambridge. Looks like more Maple Grove royalty on the other side. A couple members of the Vulcan crew. It's
A real menagerie.
a mixed bag there. And I think maybe the Robbinsdale Whiz Bang royalty might have been on there as well, but I'm not sure.
If that's the case, they have won some awards in 2000, the King General Flamius Award, and the Torchlight Parade for the Winter Carnival, and also the Queen of Snows Award at the same point in Winter Carnival. We now have our next Queen candidate. This will be Katie Beavers from Bardale Dental Associates, right here in Hudson.
And next, Queen candidate Laura Bertzer, sponsored by Lavender Times. Laura Bertzer. And a Mustang from our days, Ben.
Yeah, that does look like our days, doesn't it?
Looks a lot better preserved than you and me, though.
They probably got better care. Our next candidate is Heather Kennebeck. Heather is sponsored by Bernard Portrait Design, and she is riding in a BMW convertible.
Now coming up, in a Pontiac GTO, muscle car from the 60s, Samantha O'Keefe, sponsored by Getaway Travel. Samantha O'Keefe, Queen candidate.
Do you know what GTO stands for?
No?
It's something like Gran Turismo Obligado.
Ah.
The next candidate in a TR6, which is a British Triumph, British-made Triumph, is Stephanie Taft. She is sponsored by Star Embroidery. Almost like doing a car show here at the festival.
Here we have the Rolling Hills 4-H Club, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary year. 4-H is a learn-by-doing organization offering projects from aerospace to woodworking, arts and crafts to waterfowl, and about 75 other projects as well. It's open to youth in grades 1 through 12 and adults as project leaders. Rolling Hills 4-H Club invite you to join the fun.
Next, we have some more music. The Hudson High School Band, the Marching Raiders. They have nice, cool-looking uniforms for a hot day. Today, they don't have to worry about that.
Now we have the Woodbury Royalty and their float. A whole bunch of people. We'll just have to try and
everybody on
get the names. Princess Bridget Holt, Princess Jolene Sandstrom, and Miss Woodbury Julia Lepisto.
And a few, I would say, of their
Additional
families or their friends. They travel with quite a group.
Unfortunately, we didn't have any information sent ahead, apparently.
Next we have the July 4th Liberty Fest of Sand Creek. And on this float we have the Miss Shatek. This is actually the Shatek float. Angie Langham, first runner-up Alicia Eckhoff, and second runner-up Dia Beckman. And they are way out of order in my parade, but nice to have them here.
If we find more information, we'll have to give it to people. I think the rain delay and whatnot may have moved some units out of order. Now we're back in line. The Amory Community Royalty. Amory, the City of Lakes, following Chautauqua, the City of Lakes. Suppose
Very
that's what
appropriate.
they can fight it out. Amory, the third princess is Cassie Morales. Miss Congeniality, Nicole Dahl. First princess, Randy Gehrman. Second princess, Tricia Lunis. And Miss Amory, Erin Lord. The Amory Fall Festival is September 13 to 16.
I notice that there are a number of these festivals that are coming up yet in late August or in September. So a lot of opportunity for folks to get out and go to one of these communities and enjoy their festival.
And the next one coming is in October.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
And one that we've seen here over the years, always a beautiful float from the city of Anoka, the Pumpkin Festival. And this has a Halloween theme with some cobwebs on the grill of the vehicle and over the windows and side mirrors. Billing itself as a Halloween capital of the world. A lighted float. It's really a very unique float. And we have on the float Miss Anoka, Amy Koshlock, Princess Christine Johnson, and Laura Chenko, which is Miss Congeniality and the second princess.
They were the Festival of the Year in the year 2000 in Minnesota. Their Light Up Night Parade is Saturday, October 20, and the Grand Day Parade Saturday, October 27.
Very beautiful unit.
And now, the Osceola Royalty. Beautiful float. Ought to be in the Tournament of Roses.
Yes, a lot of
Miss
flowers.
Osceola, Mary Cook. The first and second princesses are Emily Knudsen and Jenny Holmquist. Miss Congeniality, Amanda Marsh. Little Miss First Princess, Allison Isaacson, and Little Miss Second Princess, Sarah Haley.
And they also have a September festival. It will be on September 7th, 8th, and 9th at Osceola.
Lots of chances to go see more parades.
You bet. Now here is the most appropriately costumed group for this parade.
Get it.
They have lots of umbrellas and they are ready for the weather.
Where you gonna be on the 50th October?
I think this must be Spirit in the Park. And Spirit in the Park is advertising activity September 15th in the band shell. I assume that would be in Hudson,
Yes.
down at the Lakefront Park.
With an original beetle, yellow beetle sunbug. Here comes a unit from St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Hudson. And I don't know if we've certainly got one vehicle following these ladies with their banner, and maybe more.
Advertising a carnival, it looks like, coming up September 8th.
No, Church Carnival. St. Paul's Episcopal Church should move to 502 County Road W. The carnival September 8th, 10 to 4 p.m.
Test, I believe they use radio announcers and say WW. County Road WW. Our next float is from the Y. Slogan on the door, we build strong kids, strong families, and strong communities. They have certainly enjoyed a very active program here in the Hudson area. I believe you use the Y, do you not?
Yes, we don't get there nearly as often as we ought to, but it's great to go work out on the Cybex machines and the walking track and the pool.
And I know my sons have used the basketball court on a number of occasions.
And now we have the Roberts royalty for Roberts Good Neighbor Days. Queen Tracy Nelson, first and second princesses Julie Ickler and Katie Borgstrom, Miss Congeniality Amy Hall and Tracy Nelson, and Junior Miss Abby Webb. Good Neighbor Days is sponsored by Roberts Lions Club.
Our next float is from the city of Ellsworth, and we have three royalty candidates on this float. We have Princess Brandy Hazy, Princess Sarah Lardall, and Miss Ellsworth, Katie Farrell. Float from the city of Ellsworth. They are bundled up with capes, and probably a good thing to have today. It's a little chilly up there.
The cheese curd capital.
Ellsworth, founded after Colonel Ellsworth, of course, of Civil War fame.
Here's the Glenwood City royalty. Queen Jenny Hansen, Princess Janica Quinn, Princess Vanessa Swingpool. They would like to invite you to their Rustic Lore Days, September 4th through 9th, the weekend after Labor Day.
And immediately behind them, a large group of gymnasts is the Hudson School of Gymnastics, doing a few cartwheels down the center line of the highway. So there's a very physically fit unit.
Yes. Well, this looks like it ought to be a Queen candidate, but I think it's maybe just part of the auto glass specialist group.
Or the Indian Head Glass Specialist, which were also in the same area of the parade. Unfortunately, we don't have a sign.
More candy. You know why the kids come now, right?
Yeah, there have been a lot of...
One of the trucks from the auto glass specialists. The trucks they send out to take care of your car windows wherever you want them to come to.
Absolutely. There has been a lot of souvenirs distributed as well as candy. We've had the Frisbees, we've had coupons, we've had pens.
I think these are little auto glass trucks.
I believe that they are also.
A little bank.
Advertising device that they use, the little red trucks.
Kids can put their coins in them.
Our next unit is Heartland Days, which is from Hammond, Wisconsin. Their festival was just recently completed on August 9th to 12th. We have on this float Miss Congeniality, Lee Stoddard, Princess Lalani Mueller, and Princess Nikki Wellnitz. And Miss Hammond is Lee Stoddard.
Who's also the Miss Congeniality.
Yes.
One of both. And now from Monticello, Minnesota, the Monticello Royalty. Miss Monticello is Abby Schultz. The princesses are Makara Klingler and Amanda Peterson, and I suspect that's Makara.
And I would assume that's Monticello, Minnesota, rather than Monticello, Wisconsin.
Well, I assume, but I don't know.
It does have Wisconsin or Minnesota license plate.
Okay.
Here's the Indian Head Glass, who has offices in Hudson, Amory, St. Croix Falls, and New Richmond, and they do auto, commercial, and residential glass.
Next we have the East Bethel Royalty, Queen Amber Olson, Little Miss Billy Chesler, and Princess Jessica Evenson. East Bethel, Minnesota.
And we had a note here from Maple Grove Ambassador Float. I wonder if they were on that fire truck along with all those other mixed royalties.
There was at least one young lady from Maple Grove, and from the color of their dresses, I thought maybe two on the other side that we didn't see. If so, Miss Maple Grove was Jeanette Newman. The princesses were Lindsay Nodgard and Becky Ringen.
We now have the next royalty candidate, Jenna Peterson.
Sponsored by Hudson Chrysler, huh?
Yes, which is the new facility just off of Carmichael Road.
Here's Queen candidate Emily Holland, sponsored by Village Liquor Store.
And
Emily Holland.
And there's a Corvette again from our era.
That's Janet Bastian. Her husband John gave her that as a wedding anniversary present.
Next Queen candidate is Brooke Schrum, and Brooke is sponsored by the Touch of Sun Tanning Salon. And she certainly looks like she's gotten a good tan.
Yes. I suppose they wanted her to be well tanned for the parade, huh? Here's Queen candidate Katie Zoe Rankin. Katie Zoe is sponsored by Dave Holt Ford, and being driven, of course, in a modern white Ford Mustang by her dad, Officer Rankin, who's at the high school.
And next Queen candidate is Courtney Jessup. Courtney is in the Jeep Wrangler Sports, and her sponsor is the Hudson Rod, Gun, and Archery Club. Courtney
And now,
Jessup.
a bunch of young men and young women in rollerblades and the uniforms of the Hudson Hockey Association, promoting the sport of hockey. That's registration's coming up in September 11, 13, and 15 at the Hudson Sports Center on Hanley Road. And of course, they have the honor of having brought back to Hudson this year the championships in both boys and girls state high school hockey.
As they're being advertised by these little carts, go-karts. And that's really quite an honor to have both the male and the female
It really is. Of
championship
course,
in the same year.
the girls also won last year, so they have won the first and second state high school championships, and this year it's going to be WIAA.
It should be a great challenge and something I'm sure they're looking forward to. And here we have some of the older hockey players and doing a few tricks here with the tennis ball and the hockey sticks. And Jim Thies, one of the girls hockey coaches, who is along with this float walking. Next we have the
Number of
girls
boys
and
and
boys
girls from the varsity
the
teams.
varsity.
Interestingly, both teams have a lot of juniors returning, and they literally have a realistic chance at repeating either or both of them.
Yep, I think that they're looking forward to the upcoming season with a lot of anticipation. This Zamboni is a little different than the one I've driven on a number of occasions.
The Hockey Association has programs ranging all the way from age 4 up through high school, of course, and as well as a Learn to Skate program every Saturday morning at dollar or two that they'll teach kids to skate, whether or not they want to play hockey.
And they have
That
separate,
runs all fall, September through November.
and we should note they have separate programs for girls as well as boys.
Yes.
That begins really a separation at 12. The U12 or under 12 age is when the girls teams start. Up to that point, they typically play in a co-ed group.
I'm a pepper!
Well, Bill, who is this?
I
Who's the
have
gorilla?
foggiest idea. I suspect it's not connected to St. Louis Park, or at least if it is, that's why they send them so far out ahead.
Certainly an entertaining unit, however.
He maybe is left over from last night's beer garden at the Pepper Festival. I'm not sure.
We now have the St. Louis Park, Minnesota float. There are a lot of people on this float also, starting with Junior Commodore Richard, Junior Queen Jane, Junior Princess Carly, and Caitlin. Senior Queen is Colleen, and Senior Commodore Mike. Princess Erin and Ambassador Tim, along with Miss St. Louis Park, Kate.
Their Parktacular 2001 was June 13 to 17. So those who want to go to St. Louis Park next year, mid-June. And now we have the float from Durand and the Durand Royalty. This is the 38th anniversary of Miss Durand. The Durand Fun Fest is always on the second weekend of June, and they invite you to come join them. On the float, Miss Durand 2001, Jenna Winter, and Princesses Kayla Danziger and Jessica Merck.
And you can hear approaching our next musical unit. This is the New Richmond Marching Tigers, and they do have their senior band here. And I'm sure that you'll be picking up the sound very soon if you don't already hear it. It's a large unit. They also have the flag procession, the banner, the flag unit. And they are performing just north of the stand right now, and I anticipate they'll be stopping this area also, and you'll be able to pick up the sound of the band. They've done an about face, or I should say parade right, and are playing for the crowd that is currently aligning the west side of Highway 35, or 6th Street in North Hudson.
Well, the Tigers have always put out a wonderful marching band program, as we saw from the middle school contingent that was here earlier with their royalty and float. Also very, very snappy uniforms. South St. Paul Kaposia Days royalty. Miss South St. Paul Sarah Mascaro and Princesses Jessica
pushing a cart here with frozen treats, and today is probably not the best day for that. He is followed by the float from Star Prairie, which hosts Ox Cart Days. And that's the third weekend in August. On this float are little Miss Star Prairie, Darian Vienendahl, Junior Miss Amy Ford, Second Princess and also Miss Congenia, Lindsay Kittle, First Princess Andrea Jerbeck, and the Miss Star Prairie is Crystal O'Connell.
Their parade is tomorrow at 2 p.m. I thought it was this afternoon. Here's the Balsam, this is the Balsam Lake Royalty. Little Miss Anna S. Evansberger, Princesses Kayla Kutzik and Austina Leonardson, Miss Congeniality, Brittany Forster, and First Princess Amanda Ellison. The Queen is Wendy
I would guess Nelson.
Nelson. Sounds good. Yeah. That would make sense in Balsam Lake. They have a 4th of July weekend for their festival.
The reason we're having a little problem with that is the jacket with one of the candidates is covering the name. We now have the St. Francis Royalty. And St. Francis sponsors Pioneer Days in the Park. Miss Congeniality is Emily Goldman. Senior Queen is Darlene Benke. Senior King is Richard England. Miss St. Francis is Monica Mayers. And Princess Amanda Kabami.
Here's the Roseville Royalty. Miss Roseville is Jennifer Haig, and the princesses are Katie O'Day and Lisa Brendel. And with them are the West St. Paul Royalty. Unfortunately, we do not have their names. It was nice of Roseville to give that transportation.
All right, here we have a unit from County Concrete Corporation located in Roberts, Wisconsin, just off the interstate.
They invite you to stop by their showroom and see a lot of the things they do. They're not just concrete, but pavers, decorative rock, landscaping block, and much more. We've got a little break in the lineup.
But upcoming is one of the certainly favorites of the crowd, and that would be the Vulcan crew. I'm sure they're doing their thing up the parade route.
Oh, I am sure. And before them, actually, is a unit called Sterling Silver from Sterling Silver Studio, and that's all we know. We'll see what comes into view and share with the crowd anything else we can.
Sterling Silver Studio is from Superior, Wisconsin, and I believe that they were in the parade last year also. And one of the things they do is trick baton twirling. They're doing the twirling with flaming batons tossed high in the air by the young ladies. And being caught, I should note. I haven't seen one drop yet. I'm a little better view than you. I see there's a gentleman sort of obscuring your vision up the line.
That's true.
And he pulled the bowl across the street and it made an evil hiss. And the band of demons joined in and it sounded something like this.
Throw a piece of candy at him. Throw a piece of candy.
When the devil finished, Johnny said, well, you're pretty good, old son. But sit down in that chair right there and let me show you how it's done. Come on, about run, boys, run. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Granny, you don't back no child, no.
They have a lot of baton twirlers, don't they?
There look to be about 15 twirlers in this group. And of course, they're playing the music coming from a huge boombox, speakers in the back of the pickup that precedes them.
The devil bowed his head because he knew that he'd been beat, and he laid that.
And now, here comes the Vulcan crew. We never quite know what they're going to do, so let's tell you who they are. Baron Hot Sparkus, the Prime Minister, is John Silliman. General Flavius is John Myslowski. The Count of Ashes, Scott Cocchiarella. Prince of Soot, Mike Danielson. Grand Duke Fertilius, Arnie Essen. And Duke of Clinker, Joe Vogel. And the Count Imperius is Joe Wert. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're entirely welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Have a nice parade.
Well, we received nice buttons, a whole lot better than a kiss in the smear of the cheek, man, but I think you ought to get one of those.
Well, I imagine that he could decorate us both with mustaches.
They carefully now just do it with the black wipe-off marker.
And they have their truck, the Fire and Brimstone vehicle that carries the Vulcan crew. They're followed by Frank Chiropractic. We don't know that we have seen any of the St. Paul Winter Carnival.
Well, I think we lost Paint Arcade as well. I think we lost a lot of the royalty with the shower, and in fact, it's raining slightly
we
again.
lose them again here. It looks like the rain is